now what we want to do is we want to move on and we want to create some handlers for our users. So the first thing we need to do is need to create a folder for handlers inside of the source, and then we'll make one for user TS, and then that's where we're going to put our handlers for our users. So let's do that. Source, new folder, handlers, and inside of there, user.ts. Now we're actually going to start using the Prisma SDK ORM thing that we installed a while ago. We're going to use it. But before that, I want to make another helper file so we don't have to keep creating a new Prisma client every time we want to use it. I'm just going to make it once in one file, and then we just import that file wherever we want. So I'm just going to make a new file on source. I'm going to call it db.ts. And it's going to import, it's going to import from @Prisma client, like that. And I think we want to import, what is it? Is it Prisma? Maybe it's, or maybe it's just client. Why do I have a string here? What am I doing? Maybe it's just clients. Actually, what is it? Let's see. Oh, it's like that. I knew it was something weird. Okay. All cap stuff always gets me. So we're going to import it like this. You're just going to destructure Prisma client, capital P, capital C, destructure, or named import. That's technically what that's called. And then I'm just going to make a new client. I'll just call it Prisma equals new Prisma client, like that. No options. And I'll just say exports default Prisma. I'm doing this in this file so I don't have to do this everywhere I need it. I only have to do it once. And you can put that DB file wherever you want. I'm just putting it on a source. I guess more appropriately, it would make sense to put it in the modules folder. I feel like DB is just so important that it should just be on the root with the rest of the root stuff, because it's just that important. But you don't have to. You can put it wherever you want. Okay. Now, going back into users, I can import Prisma from DB, like that. Okay, everybody follow me so far? And then now what I want to do is I want to create a function that allows me to create a user, and then we'll also make a function that allows me to like sign in. So let's do that. So to create a user, this is going to be a handler for a route. Handlers have a request, they have a response. So I'm going to say export, const create new user equals a function that has a request and a response as an object, because all handlers do. This is going to be async because we have to do some database stuff. All database queries are always async, because talking to a disk is asynchronous, just like talking to a network is asynchronous. The protocol in which a disk operates on is asynchronous. And most databases are server too, which means not only are you talking to a disk, you're talking to a network that's talking to a disk. So, and if you have a service database, you're talking to a network that's talking to a network that's talking to a disk. So all that's asynchronous. So it's not like querying an array in memory, okay? All right, so let's create a user. So what does a user need to be created? Well, we can do this. We can say const user equals await Prisma dot, and when you hit dot, you can see that it already knows about a user, because this Prisma SDK is aware of all the models that we already created, and we created one called user, so it's aware of it. So I can say user dot create. I can call that. I can give it an object, and I can give it a data property, which is an object. So like that. And then you can see this data property is lighting up. It's just like, you need to pass some stuff to create a user that you're not passing. So like, yeah, this isn't right. So I know that a user has a username, and you can see I start typing, it spills it out for me. It's like, oh yeah, users have a username. Cool. But where do I get this username from? Where?
Whatever we have received the token, JWT token, it will have the claims.
So for create new user, there is no token necessary because this is going to issue the token. Yeah, but where do I get the username from?
Chat's suggesting the request object, request.body, request.user.
Yes, request.body. So create new user is going to be a post request, because we're creating something. So it's a post. Most post requests send something to the server. Typically, that's attached to something called the body. So as the author of the server, we're saying you, client, must send us something called username attached to the body. Otherwise, this isn't going to work. And we're saying that by writing the code for it. We're assuming that. So it's like, oh, username is going to be rec.body.username. Okay. But what about the password? Where does that come from? It's not a trick question. Exactly. Request.body.password. Yeah, rec.body.password. Oh, but wait, we don't want to store a plain text password, right? We almost fell into that trap. That's not what we want to do. So what we want to do instead is we want to use our hash password function that we had. So hash password takes in that, but it's asynchronous, so I'm going to await it. But you didn't know you can await like that on the property, huh? Yeah, you can. It's pretty cool. And you probably shouldn't, but we're going to handle errors later, so it doesn't matter. Okay, so now that we got our username, we have our hash password. This satisfies all the requests of creating a user. I know that because it's not complaining at me, and I can just check myself. I can go look at the schema, and what are the required fields here that don't have defaults? ID has a default, it's required. Created at has a default, it's required. Username is required but doesn't have a default, so I gotta pass that. Password is also required. There's no question mark here, and it doesn't have a default, so I have to pass that. Products, there's no question mark on it, but it's an array type, so that means it's an empty array, which is fine. It can be an empty array. So that means I have to pass in these two. So that's how I know I'm good. These get defaulted, and this one is just an empty array with nothing in it. So that's how you know. So cool, we got that. We got our user. Now we can create a token. So I can say token equals create JWT, and I can pass in our user. And then now I can say res.json. I'll say token. I'll just say token. There you go. You're going to get back a token. And me doing this shortcut like this, if you haven't seen this before, this is the equivalent of just saying token, token. But that's so redundant, I'm just going to write it once.